Yeah, many thanks. Yeah, I was nodding because that was actually a very similar situation for us too. The only difference is that at Logic, so we are active since now almost 15 years. At the beginning, the reason why the companies were looking for us was really focused on communication issues. So it was not about cost-effective cost reduction related to energy, but it was related to communication issues in order to say something about climate issues and climate commitments. So at the beginning, in fact, we were contacted by almost only big companies that have no choice and have to communicate about climate change and climate commitments. And we had some very small companies, but with directors very personally convinced that they have to do something, and were ready to gather all the little company in their climate action. And since few years now, we have noticed a very difference now related to the reasons why the companies are more and more committed into climate actions. And we have indeed more and more SMEs that are contacting us. So the reason behind is that indeed we are not talking now about only communication. We are talking about wider issues. So there is clearly now a scientific reality that helps to convince people and convince companies that it's not something that is going to change within a few years. That's something that is here for long-term perspective, and we have to do something about that. We are more and more citizens that are aware about the fact that they have to do something, and you have a European Commission barometer that is published every 2 or 3 years, and that shows that climate change is now more and more seen as a major issue to be tackled inside EU. And we are not talking about only economy, about terrorism, about health, but climate change is a major issue too. So these two elements were already more or less present at the beginning, but now we are noticing that more and more investors are increasingly interested in the risk and opportunities related to climate change. So we have talked about the carbon disclosure project at the beginning, and that's exactly that. So investors are gathered together in order to assess the carbon performance of their suppliers now, and about the companies where they're going to invest, and they want to know how mature the companies are related to this perspective. But you have other dimensions that are directly impacted by climate change now in a SME or in a big company. You have all the human resources department now that is directly impacted, because they have already seen that the youth has understood that they will be directly impacted by climate change. This is a reality for them. And the youth now is going to be your next employees in the future. And they want to, and the companies, they see that they have to do something to tell something to these people related to their climate ambition. And not only youth, but you have actually the existing employees are more and more asking internally to commit to climate change. We have some example as like Amazon, for example, 2 years ago, you had thousands of Amazon employees that asked directly the company to adopt a climate change plan. So that was really from the internal side that the pressure came, and they have to do something about that. And you have other dimensions like the marketing dimension. You have customers that valorize more and more the low carbon or the CO2 neutral products and services. You have EcoVadis, for example, that exists in France. You have CO2 Prestatielader that exists in Netherlands and is going to be experienced in Belgium next year. So that's something that is really raising more and more. And what we see now is that, in fact, we are not talking about communication anymore. We are talking about strategy. And it's really clear now. And when SMEs or big companies come to contact us, it's not only about telling that they are going to do something about climate change and just a little action in order to say something, but it's really now a credible strategy to design, and not only for 1 year. It's something that is now for multiple years, and they have many ways to do that, and we are here to assist them in that.